What's up, grillers? This is Skyler with the Grill Guys in Republic, Missouri, and today we're going to talk about FireBoard Labs' new pellet drive that they have recently come out with. You probably, if you're in the grilling world at all, are aware that they have partnered with some OEMs and have done pellet grill controllers for certain brands. I'm just a huge FireBoard fan, so got one that I've used for quite a while. I do a lot with it, and we're going to be putting the pellet drive on this Pits and Spits here. Nothing wrong with the controller that Pits and Spits comes with, but I am excited to try a little upgrade. So we'll get to that and see how that goes. All right, so after repositioning a couple things and getting all my goodies ready here, I'm going to see about going ahead and just giving you a quick time lapse of how this is done. Instructions are actually pretty simple on this. You're supposed to match up some wires. The RTD probe has a specific little plug that has to be changed. But I'm going to kind of show you, walk you through this, how it goes. It is a balmy 39 degrees in Missouri today, so I had to go ahead and put a jacket on. But anyway, we'll take you through this thing and show you how it goes. So the first thing I want to do, because these grills now come with Wi-Fi native, is get in here and disconnect our Wi-Fi controller from this. And then I'm also going to free up our wires so that I can actually pull these out of here as I need. And essentially what I did there is I just snipped these zip ties here so that we can get all of our wires free, so that once I take the board out, I'm not bound up for any reason here. Okay, so essentially these Molex connectors right here are what we're going to be disconnecting and reconnecting with our wiring harness from FireBoard. You see these connectors here. Nice thing about these connectors is that with FireBoard they've told you where these go: your power, igniter, fan, auger. So the only thing, like I said, that's not on here specifically is the RTD plug. And you use this guy here and you'll connect those wires, which actually on the Pits and Spits happens to be these two right here. So the nice part is they're just spade connectors. I'm gonna have to cut these spade connectors off of here. So what we'll do if we need to put it back to stock is we'll just reconnect spade connectors and connect them back to the board. So as you can see here, I am disconnecting those Molex connectors, which is those white plastic connection pieces on the ends of each of those wires. Essentially, the removal process, you have to kind of pull kind of hard on those, and reconnecting, you just push them together. I did go ahead and check to make sure there's a fuse in the power portion for the harness that FireBoard provides, just to be safe. But the factory connectors from Pits and Spits, the wiring for the power is red and black. The igniter is a white braided wire. The fan is green and the auger is blue. So those are the colors you're looking for inside there. The RTD probe that I keep talking about is actually the ambient temperature probe on the inside of the grill that just tells the controller what the temperature inside the grill is, so that you have the ability to monitor that. Important distinction on here: when you're messing with this, FireBoard allows for a second fan on this. What we're going to use, because there's only one fan on this particular grill, is the fan 1. So we're going to plug that one in for our fan, and then the fan 2, we're just going to leave it disconnected. So now we're going to take our little blue plug that we're going to run our RTD wires in. They supply a tiny little screwdriver that you can use for tightening your wires down. Now, it doesn't matter which wire goes in which hole. You can do it either way, but the main thing is to make sure that they're nice and secure once you have them in here. Interestingly enough, it looks like FireBoard has used a lefty-tighty approach on this, so you're actually going to be backing this screw out to tighten this wire down on this little clamp piece. Now that that's done, we're going to feed all of our wires up through here, including our RTD wire. For that internal probe, you'll see I have that nice and tight. You can kind of pull on these and they're not going anywhere. All right, so before we plug this in, last thing you have to do Love it when the neighbors let the dog out. We have to ground this. Now, typically, FireBoard says just use one of your screws that comes out of your controller mount to do that, but the problem that we have is that those screws actually go into the control board. So I'm going to get a little bit different screw and nut to use with this, and we'll mount it that way instead. All right, so I actually happen to have this little wing nut and Allen head deal. We're going to use that to mount our ground wire on this guy. Plug our RTD in. I'll plug our harness in. It goes on this little cream connector here. Keeps on trying to slip away from me. We have the magnetic mount kit on this, by the way. As you can tell, it's pretty secure. That's the first time I've actually let it get on there. We're going to kind of let that hang out. Get our wing nut tight there. Give it a little extra oomph to make sure it's solid. FireBoard pellet drive mounted. Let's plug it in and see how it does. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and peel the little protective film off of the screen here. Moment of truth, we're going to power it up, see what we get. We have power. Check it out. So here's what you get. Pellet drive setup. Standard default model. I guess we'll just go with save. Now we're going to start. Starting at 225. We've got our auger going, igniters on, fan 1, set temperature. And I think this is a percentage of drive, 100% drive right now. It does have SG1 technology, so we should be able to connect a pulse to it if we want. Grill may be a little dirty. We cooked on it the other day. Ignore that. But the main thing is how quickly are we going to be able to get this thing up and going? That's going to be the main thing. So I had heard that perhaps maybe this is going to get us up and running faster than the old setup. Oh, wow. Smoke already. Holy crap. Well, that's pretty impressive. I can't say that we would have had that before. So if you have a pits and spits, you want to get up and running quick, maybe that's an improvement. My goodness. That was super fast. I mean, you guys saw that. That was within, what, 45 seconds, maybe? Impressive. Impressive, FireBoard. That was quick. That was super, super quick. You can obviously hear it running. It's going. Sorry for all the nastiness on there. We did a couple of pork butts the other day. And truth of the matter is, sometimes you don't get things clean immediately thereafter. You got other stuff you got to do. That's part of why people have a pellet grill in the first place, right? So they can have some ease and convenience of being able to manage things, you know, with less hassle. Good night, that was fast. Let's see what we got going on here. All right. Pit probe error. Looks like I got some fixing to do. It looks as though I now have a working pit probe. What I did here was I disconnected the connector back there. I kind of cleaned up the wiring a little bit for the RTD probe, and I reversed the positions. I also reversed the way that they were connected. So I went lefty-tighty to tighten them. Instead, I took the wires out, reeled them backwards, and then I went righty-tighty. So as you can see, we have a live deal now. So I'm going to turn this off, and we're going to turn it back on and see if we can get this rolling. Because unfortunately, what has happened is it has actually made it so that we have some residual burn in the fire pot because it just straight up shut down. But you can see we've got 53 degrees. Press knob to ignite. Here we go. Hopefully this thing will just rock and roll for us. But yeah, before we only had our set point. We did not actually have the probe temperature, so I guess that's a good reason why it said probe failure. But we will see what happens here. It's going to take a look into our trapdoor. Let's see if we can see what we got going on. Full on. you can see that we do have something happening there. I don't have any heat gloves out here with me, so there we are. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. You can even see the pellets feeding in there and everything, making good fire. Since I don't have any heat gloves out here, I'm not going to actually try to pull that diffuser back, but we will put the trapdoor back on. We'll go ahead and close this down. See what our temperature does. All right, grillers, so we finally achieved our temperature on this thing. It's been about 20-ish minutes, something like that. Like I said, it's in the mid to upper 30s here in Republic today, Missouri, so I don't really think that's too bad. As you can see, we've achieved our temperature that we were shooting for. It kind of like meters itself up, you know, so you'll gain some and then you'll lose a few degrees and then it'll kind of go up, and so it kind of ratchets itself up in order to get where it needs to be. And like I said, 30 some degrees. This is a Maverick 1250, so pretty good sized grill. You know, the truth of the matter is I don't really think that's too bad for this temperature out here with this much air volume and this much steel. You know, essentially I think that this is going to be a product that we're carrying in our store. So if it's something that you're looking for, you need advice, or you want to get one purchased, you can. Our website's grillguys417.com. You can also call our showroom, 417-647-5002. If this is a product you think you want, by all means, reach out to us and we'll see about getting it to you. Other than that, hope you guys have a great day. Until next time.